The Dallas Mavericks have shocked many, including me, being a top 6 team in the West and especially starting this NBA season as one of the top 3 teams in the Western Conference and even holding that #1 spot for a few weeks. While many point to the development of Luka, Kyrie having a full training camp with the team, or just the overall strengthening of their roster done by adding guys like Grant Williams, Dante Exum, and Seth Curry to fill some holes in their rotation and depth that they needed, the Dallas Mavericks have one player on their roster who completely changed the outlook of their roster building, and one that has seemed to be stagnant by the end of last season, up until we got to the NBA draft. Last year, after the Kyrie trade, the Mavs were a team that were top heavy without any true big in their rotation, and they were looking for a real anchor that could actually help an already poor defensive team. Dwight Powell and Maxi Kleber, they've kind of shown pretty much nothing for their tenure in production as anchors for this team. This left Mark Cuban and the Mavs wondering where to turn to after trading for Kyrie prior to the deadline that year and not having the solid cap to really build in free agency. To end the season last year, the Mavs, controversially I might add, sat Kyrie, shut down Luka, and essentially tanked to get a slightly better position in the draft to get their eyes on the one guy that would seemingly fix everything for this team. Now, before we start this video, like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. If you are a Dallas fan, tap in below. Show me how lit, I guess you could say, Dallas faithful gets. And if you don't subscribe and you're not subscribed, you're ugly. Just saying that. I don't make the rules. It just is what it is. Let's get into the video.
Here's Commissioner Adam Silver.
With the 12th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Dereck Lively II from Duke University.
Dereck Lively from Duke, 82 blocks, the most in a season by a Duke freshman since block became official in 85-86. But Lively's story, it's really just remarkable. He's sharing this moment, you can see there, with his mother, Kathy, who played basketball at Penn State and is the reason that he plays. He calls her a superhero, and Kathy had a 10-year battle with cancer and thankfully went into remission in July of 2022. And he told me that his proudest moment, it was using his NIL money to buy Kathy a house near Penn State where she works now. His father passed away when he was young, and he told me that certainly, as Adam Silver just called his name, their shared name, the one he shares with his father, he will be on his mind. He's just an incredibly special player. And Bobby Marks, I know you were able to have a conversation.
A lineup with both Luka and Kyrie is an immediate offensive volcano, and that was reflected by their offensive rating together, which was 6th in the league last year. With no semblance of rim protection, their defense could not hold up its end of the bargain, seeing them finish 26th in the league in the defensive rating. This problem wasn't really lost on the Mavs front office either, as they tried to address it multiple times, trying to trade for guys like DeAndre Ayton and Clint Capella. After striking out on multiple trade talks during the summer, the Mavs were fortunate to have a 12th overall pick and Dereck Lively to just be sitting there waiting for them. Now, being the backbone of a defense, it's a tall task of any rookie, of course, and Lively is no exception. However, if any rookie in this class not named Victor Wembanyama could do it, it was Dereck Lively. If we're being totally honest, in regard to Lively's 1 year at Duke, it was disappointing, and he couldn't really find a way to consistently get involved offensively and struggled to be a force on the board. Still, he flashed potential in a variety of areas, but none more than his defensive presence. Averaging an impressive 2.3 blocks a game, Lively affected more shots than he got to, and his measurables offered hope that this trend would continue in the NBA with a 7'1" height and 7'7" wingspan. His long frame makes him an obvious rim protector, and his effort and willingness to do the simple things like boxing out and hustling for a rebound make him a headache to account for when the shot goes up, whether you're on defense or offense. There were several times in a recent game where I saw Lively was getting to offensive rebounds that most bigs in the league wouldn't even put effort into grab. They would just get back on defense, but there he was fighting for positioning rebounding and giving the Mavericks multiple opportunities to get a bucket. Lively's offensive rebounding against the Pelicans that night, it was like that popcorn kernel that you constantly feel, but you just can't seem to get it out of your teeth. If we look at this clip, the first rebound broke Lively's way while Valanciunas tried to keep him from getting the ball. But there are very few bigs in the league who would make a legitimate play to contest that rebound. But it was the second offensive board which led to Tim Hardaway Jr.'s three-pointer to cut the Pelicans' lead to 111-109. It should be used as teaching material on the do's and don'ts of boxing out and crashing the glass, and that's the one that had Pelicans play-by-play announcer saying, "Lively again? Does anybody want to put a body on this guy?" And on the next possession, Lively was there again, grabbing his 7th rebound of the night, which led to another Hardaway triple to give Dallas the late lead in that game. With Lively, and what makes him so exciting to watch is not just rebounding that elevates Dallas's ceiling. Lively's presence is so immense on the defensive end that when he's on the floor, they're near a top 10 ranked defense compared to when he sits, they're 26th ranked defense like they were last year before they drafted him. Surely, the Mavericks couldn't have predicted that Lively would be this important to the team early on. Even on offense, he's made an instant connection with both Kyrie and Luka in the pick and roll game, what he seemed to not be able to do at Duke, which is kind of ironic. He ranks in the 82nd percentile in pick and rolls, generating 1.33 points per possession, and his leaping ability makes him a threat every time he's cutting to the rim because he's very athletic and can catch lobs. But even past catching lobs, he's shown promise in being able to put the ball on the deck, back someone down, and get his own basket with a little baby hook shot over defenders or through a variety of layups and post moves. Lively making an immediate impact doesn't just help the Mavericks this season, but it also bodes well for the future. A lot of people speculated that Luka would start to look to get traded and get out of Dallas because, like I said early in this video, the Mavericks roster building seemed to have gotten stagnant from that point, and they really didn't have help to bring in to help Luka. Them trading for Kyrie was a last-ditch effort in that case anyway. So this year, more than likely, if the Mavericks weren't successful, regardless of Lively or not, Luka was probably going to be on his way out, and the immediate success that they've seen with Lively on their team, that's probably helped them with Luka not wanting to request a trade and being more patient with the Mavericks going forward. As of right now, the Dallas Mavericks future looks brighter than it ever did before, and Dereck Lively is the head of that. As of right now, Dallas's future, it looks brighter than it did when they were condemned for tanking those final 2 games of last season and trying to keep their draft pick rather than competing for a play-in spot. Now, if you guys didn't know, that draft pick ultimately allowed them to select Dereck Lively number 12 after they traded the number 10 overall pick to the Thunder, and the reason why they were trying to do that was because they were trying to get off of Davis Bertans' contract because it was a horrible contract and nobody in the league wanted him. So it was a very, very smart business decision by the guy up top, Mark Cuban. We already know he called it in. That's not even a question. But thanks to that controversial decision, the Mavericks are now sitting 5th in the Western Conference. Lively's looking like a franchise center. I like to call him Baby Tyson, like Tyson Chandler. And the craziest part about it all, Dereck Lively hasn't even turned 20 years of age yet. And if this is the starting point of his career, just imagine how dominant he'll be 3, 4, 5 years down the line when he actually has some experience under his belt. And maybe the Mavericks come bring a vet in to help him even further. Because if you really think about it, though Dwight Powell and Maxi Kleber are his vets, they're good for Mavericks vets knowing how to play with Luka. But with regard to being a star and that extra level, those two guys have never been that. So if they could bring in a guy to help him that's a vet, come off the bench, show him some of the ropes, Dereck Lively, Luka Doncic, and Kyrie could be a big 3 for the next 2, 3, 4 years, so long as the Mavericks actually build their roster properly. Let's hope they do that. But that's all I got for you guys in this one. Let me know how you feel about Dereck Lively. If you are a Mavericks fan and you're here on this video, tap in, subscribe. Let me know what you feel about the video, how you feel about the team going forward, and if you like your boy TB. That's all I got for you guys in this one. It's your boy TB with the greatest hoop stories in the base on the tube. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.